وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. اللهم لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا فنسألك يا ربنا علما صالحا وعملا متقبلا. اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا ورزقا طيبا وعملا صالحا متقبلا. Do you guys say Amin or not? That's a dua. اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا. Swallow. Then say Amin. اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا ورزقا طيبا وعملا صالحا متقبلا. Last time we started our workshop in the marriage in Islam, or the lectures of marriage in Islam, as some people say. There's no inshallah Quran in this regard, so the definition is not a big deal. The most important thing is what we do inshallah and the benefit for the community بإذن الله عز وجل. المقصد انتفاع الناس بهذه المحاضرات أو هذه ورش العمل. So the main reason we're here is that we benefit one another with these lectures, with the information that we get, which is basically based on the Quran, on Sunnah, from the Islamic side. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychologist, but I'm trying to reflect the Islamic point of view regarding marriage. And as we Muslims and in the house of Allah, that's my job. And then you can have the other information, inshallah, from different places regarding the psychology or the other important things that you need to learn also regarding the marriage. We were saying that last time we were talking about the concept of marriage in Islam, and we talked how Islam encouraged the process of the marriage. That it is something, it's not something usual that you do it. It's something holy, it's something amazing, it's something confirmed by the verses of the Quran, confirmed through the ahadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the last thing that we talked about last time, it was the rewards that you can gain from marriage. I believe it was more than 10 rewards that you can think about. The reward of preserving the chastity of the man and woman, the reward of following sunnat al-nabiyyin, all the prophets, because marriage is the sunnah of all prophets. وَلَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا رُسُلًا مِّن قَبْلِكَ وَجَعَلْنَا لَهُمْ أَزْوَاجًا وَذُرِّيًّا. We have sent messengers before you, and we made for them azwajan, the spouse, and the offspring. So you're following the sunnah or of the messengers, all the messengers of Allah Azza wa Jal, except for Yahya alayhi salam. He did not marry, and Isa alayhi salam as well. So it was sunnah. So when you follow that sunnah, you get the reward, and many other rewards, inshallah, that we already covered last time. Today, inshallah, we're going to talk about two main things. The ruling of marriage in Islam. What is the ruling of marriage in Islam? When it comes to marriage, you say to yourself, I have to marry today, or it's okay to marry today, or it is more encouraged to marry today, or it's disliked, or it's haram. That's important to understand regarding marriage. And basically, أحكام الشريعة خمسة أحكام. How many rules of Sharia? خمسة أحكام. Guys, wake up. How many rules in Sharia? خمسة. We don't have 6 one. Wajib or fard, like salah. Salat al-Asr, Salat al-Dhuhr, Salawat al-Khams, the 5 daily prayers. This is called fard or wajib. And in the next rank or the next level is al-mustahab or sunnah. Something that it's not fard, it's not an obligatory on you. And it's sunnah. If you do it, you get reward. If you don't do it, you're not sinful. So this is the second rank. The third one is al-mubah. Al-mubah is something lawful. You will know it exactly when you go through al-makruh. Al-makruh is something disliked. But if you do it, you're not sinful. If you do it, you're not sinful. But if you don't do it, you will be rewarded, inshallah. طيب. Al-haram is something you're not allowed to touch, you're not allowed to do, you're not allowed to say. If you do it, if you say it, this is something haram, completely prohibited. If you stay away from it, inshallah, you get the reward. Al-mubah, as we said, is something in between al-wajib, al-mustahab, and al-makruh and al-muharram, something that has no, it's not preferable and it's not disliked, something in between, in the middle. Okay, that is called al-mubah. These are the 5 rulings with everything that you do it in life. Imagine, say something in life, anything in life, it must have one of these 5 rules. It must have one of these 5 rules. Staying in the United States. Staying in the United States. Migrating to the United States. I'm going to ask you, is it wajib? Is it mustahab? Is it makruh? Is it haram? Is it mubah? And you have to tell me the answer. And the answer of you is different from me. It's different from anyone else. Why? Because you have your own answers, you have your own information, you have your own reasons that to stay in the United States. So for example, someone is in a oppressor country. They're oppressing people over there. They're killing Muslims. And you cannot stay there for 1 minute. If you stay there, and if they see you with a beard, they're going to kill you, or they're going to arrest you. And some countries, Muslim countries, they say, they ban the hijab from the whole country. One of the brothers, he came here, he was crying, and it's a Muslim country. And he was crying and he was saying that my daughters are over there. And the country set the law that it's not allowed to have hijab. What do? I said, Akhi, do not let them go there anymore. Khalas, it's haram to stay there. And you have to stay in a different country. You see? So the rule differs. Someone is in the United States, he cannot practice his religion because of the fitan, the turmoil, the trials, the tests everywhere. Habibi, you don't have to. You have to leave that place and to find another place in which you can stay, you can settle, you can practice your religion freely, and you can raise your kids. I cannot raise my kids. Do not donate your kids for haram. To donate your kids for shaitan, and donate your family for shaitan and for evil. So this is important, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam, the 5 rulings that we have it in all of our lives. And this is also applied on marriage. When you look at marriage, rulings of marriage in Islam can take one of the 5 rulings depending on the individual's condition. As I said, it depends on you as a man, as a woman, as a brother and as a sister. Depends on you. Depends on your condition. Is it going to be fard for you? Is it going to be wajib for you? The first one. Is it going to be recommended, which is mandub or sunnah, mustahab Is it going to be discouraged, makruh, disliked? Is it going to be something prohibited? Someone, marriage in himself is prohibited. He's not allowed to marry. If he marries, he's sinful. And we will see that. And is it going to be permissible, which is mubah? He marries, he doesn't marry, it doesn't matter. No wrong with that, and no preferable opinion for the previous 2 or the 3rd and the 4th. But I need to ask a question first. Why is it important to learn the rulings of marriage? Why? Why is it important to know that this is wajib, this is sunnah, this is makruh, this is haram, or that is mubah? Why? The first thing that we need to learn is the responsibility. Responsibility, so you know yourself, and you know your need. You know what you're looking for, so you work on it. Learning about marriage is crucial to properly fulfilling one's duties in line with Islamic teachings. If it's wajib in himself, so I have to be responsible to apply it as soon as possible. Because if I don't do it today, I'm going to commit something haram. So that reflects you the importance of having the marriage or knowing the ruling that you need to apply. The other thing is the support. It highlights the central role of families that the family plays in easing and guiding the marriage process for their children. The parents, they know that this son or this daughter, they're in dire need of marriage. And marriage for them is wajib, and they have to make it. In this case, they have to help the brother, and they have to help the sister to marry in the Islamic way. Otherwise, they're not going to be happy with the outcomes that they may find after that. That is important for the families to understand, is it wajib for my son or not? You know, is it mustahab for my son so I can delay him a little bit? He's still in the college. It's wajib for him. Don't talk to me about college. He's in college, but he's going to commit zina. She's going to commit zina. Are you going to be happy that he gets or she gets the certificate? And after that, we call him zani wal iyadu billah? That's completely dangerous. You can control yourself. Your colleague cannot. And you cannot blame him. You cannot blame the sister. Because this is something in the nature. فطرة. إنما خلق الرجال للنساء والنساء للرجال خلقن. Allah created men for women. And created women for men. That's the nature that we need to understand. Some families, no, you have to take the certificate first. No, you have to get your job first. And you get the job, the best job. We can start together. You have money, help me. Why don't you help me? Help me. Otherwise, you're going to lose me. No, that's aib. That's shame. So you accept, you do not accept the shame, but you accept al-haram. That's really bad. So that gives the support. The understanding, when you know the rulings of marriage, is it wajib, mustahab, is it makruh, is it haram? The understanding, it emphasizes the goal of learning marriage rulings to foster clarity, harmony, and cooperation within the family structure. They support, they understand the needs of each one. Another question before knowing the rulings of marriage. How do we know which ruling applies or it is applied and suitable for me? How do I know that this is my ruling, that it's wajib for me, or it's sunnah for me, or it's makruh, or it's haram for me, or it's still mubah? This is important one. The first one, the self-awareness. You know yourself. You're the judge. You know the world. You're not cute anymore. Khalas, everything is clear for you. You see the social media. You walk in the streets. You go to the college. You study. You mingle with the sisters in a way or another. So there are some feelings. So you're the judge. You're the judge. The way you think about marriage, the way you talk about marriage, the feelings that you have in your heart, all of this can tell you which ruling you are. That you're wajib, you're mustahab, preferable for you. You're mubah. I don't care about marriage. Inshallah, if it comes, it's okay. If it doesn't come, no matter. So it captures the core concept of honestly evaluating one's personal situation to determine the correct ruling. You're the judge of yourself, of the brothers and the sisters as well. How? Through the communication. One of the big problems we have it in families, the lack of communication. When it comes to marriage, it's haram or it's aib. Do not talk about it. You're still young. I'm 30. Still young. No, you need to focus on your future. It's going to come to you. Do not be hasty. Why would you talk about this? Don't you know that you're a girl? Don't you know that you're a woman? Don't you know this and that? So, all of these questions, lack of communication, no communication, or there is communication. But with every communication, there is misunderstanding. There is misunderstanding. One of the brothers, the sister is talking to him, her father, she's telling him about marriage and so on, and then, what? How can you talk about this? How can you think about it while you're 18 or 20? How did it come to your mind? And she goes to the college, is not like under earth or something, or only deals with girls around the world. She deals with different kinds of people, some of them Muslims, and they're minorities, and some others are non-Muslims, and she sees the fitan everywhere. She sees the fitan everywhere. And they're shy to talk to the parents because the parents are tough. And they don't understand these points. I didn't talk about this with my parents at all. And this lack of knowledge leads people to do things without the knowledge of the parents. That the brother may talk to a sister, and the sister accepts to talk to one of the brothers for months. You're talking about 6 months. And then they say that we're trying to know one another. And none of the two families from here or there know anything about this relationship. And they say that we know one another. This is friendship between a man and a woman. When you talk to me, when you message me, when you email me about my personal information, and I message you about my personal information, and when we share these things together without the knowledge of the two families, this is friendship. And the friendship between the man and woman shouldn't be there. You know, you want to know the sister? Habibi, there is something called khitbah. This is the period in which you know the sister. Yeah, you know her father, you know her family, you know everything, in general, and you asked about them, you asked about the family, and you heard good feedbacks, and everything was good. Khalas, mashallah. Let's go, let's knock the door, salamu alaikum, introduce yourself, and bring your family. I'm here not to marry, I'm here to introduce myself. And if they accept that and they're okay with you, initially, then you make the engagement. The engagement, you spend some months together, you talk together in a polite way. When you go to visit them in the house, you sit in a polite way, you talk in a polite way, you communicate with the sister in a polite way, under the coverage of the two families. This is how we started. But without the knowledge of the two families, this is friendship between a man and a woman. And I'm afraid if something happens to the brother, something happens to the sister, I'm afraid that they die doing a sin, committing a sin. And Allah will ask you, why did you talk to her without the knowledge of her father? You say, I'm trying to know her. And then, do you accept that for your sister? If the mother is widow, do you accept that for your mother? So it's crucial questions. As a Muslim, I shouldn't. So the other people, they may say, that's okay. But for your religion, that's really important. So that's the communication. We need to have the proper communication. This is how you know the ruling. The consultation. Consultation, you talk, you communicated with your family, you communicated with your parents, with the other side, then consult. Consult people of knowledge, people, the advisors, imams, people that you trust in. What is my ruling in this regard? I suffer from so and so and so imam. And actually, we need to have trustworthy imam. The trustworthy imams today is one of the major things that we need it in the community. And I make use of this opportunity as long as we have brothers and sisters. The imam not necessary to be a man. We may have imam from women, not to lead in the prayer, but to teach the sisters. Seeking the knowledge, doing her best, spreading the knowledge. Aisha radiallahu anha, she was the mother of the believers, and she was one of the most prominent imams, imams in knowledge, knowledgeable people. She was teaching the men, not in one room, with the Islamic proper way, behind the hijab, the screen. And for you, some of you, mashallah, hafiz al-Quran, some of you memorize, some of you come in the classes, mashallah. That's a good opportunity to work on yourself. Your community is in need of you. Is in need of you to be advisor, to benefit people. So consultation, throughout the consultation, the imams, the knowledgeable people, they can help you to know what's ruling apply with you. The first ruling, the obligation. When does it become obligatory for the marriage? The marriage becomes obligatory when one is physically and financially able to marry. Physically and financially is able to marry from two sides. And he fears or she fears falling into sin. If he or she remains single, that's important to understand this. After presenting the 5 rulings, every one of you is able to judge himself and say, no, marriage for me is wajib, and marriage for me is mustahab, and marriage for me is makruh and haram and so on. So you're going to choose your ruling today throughout the definition. When one is physically and financially able to marry and fears falling into the sin, if he or she remains single. Based on the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, يَا مَعْشَرَ الشَّبَابِ مَنِ اسْتَطَاعَ مِنْكُمُ الْبَاءَةَ فَلْيَتَزَوَّجْ. O youngsters, whoever is ready and able to marry, ready financially, ready physically, he must marry. Hay bara, he must marry. Why? Because he's in need of that. So الزواج في حقه واجب. For him, it is obligatory. And if he is able to do it, the family are satisfied with that, and there are no obstacles, he must do it. If he is not doing it, or if she is not doing it, and they just delay it for their desires to have like unlawful relationship or something like this, that's a sin for them. That's a sin for them. The other ruling, or the second ruling that we have, is the recommended one. It is recommended, or sunnah, or mandub, or mustahab. All of these names, mandub, sunnah, mustahab, this is names for one thing. For someone who desires marriage, he loves to marry, but he doesn't fear sin. He's okay, alhamdulillah. He can control himself, she can control herself. They can read the Quran, they can have halaqat, they can occupy themselves with a lot of things. And by the way, the free time is killing. The free time is killing. What are you doing at your free time? Which is so valuable, so valuable. Time is gold. What are you doing in your free time? Are you give yourself as a gift to shaitan to control you as he likes? Or you make use of your life, you make use of your time. You cannot marry. You want to marry, but you cannot. So you make use of your life, you make siyam, you make ibadah, you make reading of the Quran, and so on. You seek knowledge, you make tahajjud, qiyam al-layl, dua, you volunteer, you do projects for the community, for the youth, and so on. You occupy yourself. And Imam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, he did not marry. And there is an Imam is called, I forgot his name, so but he wrote a book, it's called Al-Uzzabu min al-Ulama, the single scholars. And he stated or cited like over 80 scholars did not marry. And one of them, he was asked, Imam Ibn Taymiyyah and Imam al-Nawawi as well. Both of them, they did not marry. Imam al-Nawawi was in the 5th century. Imam Ibn Taymiyyah, he was in the 8th century. Why didn't you marry, Imam? He said, I forgot about it. I forgot about marriage. Because, if you go and look at the heritage of Imam Taymiyyah, for example, the scholars counted that according to what he wrote, what he authored, you can say that he started writing from the first day of his birth, writing every day 5 pages. 5 pages every day. And he did not start writing from the first day of birth. But he did great heritage for the ummah. He was in the prison, and he was authoring, writing fatwa, and sending books to people to get benefit and so on. So he said, I wasn't focusing. I did not focus on it. I forgot about it. Imam Ibn Hazm didn't marry. Imam al-Nawawi didn't marry. They did not think about it. They forgot about it. So those people, they were making use of their times, of their lives. I don't tell you, do not marry. Prophet ﷺ married. وَهَدْيُ النَّبِيِّ ﷺ أَوْلَى. The guidance of the Prophet is better than the guidance of Imam Ibn Taymiyyah, is better than the guidance of anyone in the world. It's not comparable. The guidance of the Prophet, and he married ﷺ. And he said ﷺ, حُبِّبَ إِلَيَّ مِن دُنْيَاكُمْ الطِّيبُ وَالنِّسَاءُ. The two things I loved in your dunya, that I loved in your dunya is atib, the scent, fragrance, the good smell. The best smell was the smell of the Prophet ﷺ, and an-nisa, the wives, my wives. They were the best for me in the world. Not an-nisa, some people, the unbelievers or the enemies of Islam, they try to interpret it like the Prophet, he loved women. And this is a misconception. He did not love women, but he loved the woman that he married. And this is the meaning of the hadith. How do we know that? We know that from his life. He never shook the hand of a woman. If a man is attracted to women, he would look at them, he would shake their hands, and he says, I'm your prophet, just, you have to do it. Submit to me. And the Prophet, he never did something like this. Okay, so this is Hadi Nabi alayhi salam. This is, the recommended, the mandub or sunnah for someone who desires marriage but does not fear sin. If they delay it, Similar to optional fasts like Monday and Thursday. This is optional, this is sunnah, this is mandub. Like السنة القبلية يا براء, like السنة البعدية. If I mention your name again, I'm gonna kick you حبيبي. So please, so السنة قبلية, سنة بعدية. Okay, this is not obligatory. You can make it. It's optional for you. I need to understand why you're talking. You don't understand? My English is bad, right? Okay. I think the marriage in your right is could be makruh. You don't pay attention for that. Okay. But thank you for being here, wallah. Discourage it, or al-makruh. Al-makruh. متى يكون الزواج مكروها? When does it become makruh or disliked? For someone who fears that he or she are unable to fulfill marital duties. And I'll inshallah make one lecture about, not several lectures, about the duties on the sisters, the duties on the brothers. To know that very well, because sometimes you add things, you say things which is not in the religion, which is not a duty, which is not a right, and you claim that this is part of the religion. And some people claim that. So they fear that they're unable to fulfill the marital duties emotionally, physically, or financially. And this is not encouraged unless the person's condition improves. I'm afraid I did not get this responsibility before. I never dealt with sisters before, and I have some problems in communication. So I need to work on myself, and it's not aib, wallahi. Work on yourself, improve in yourself, have courses, because this is gonna remove the ignorance from your life. والحكمة ضالة المؤمن. الحكمة العلم. The knowledge is what the believer is looking for. Whatever gives you a benefit, just go get it, even if you're going to get it from a kafir, from a non-believer, from an atheist. Take the knowledge of that thing, not atheism, the good thing that he said, and then just forget about his beliefs and the other things. And Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, he said about shaitan, when shaitan told Abu Hurairah about the virtue of reading Ayat al-Kursi before you sleep. He said that if you die, you're going to be in Jannah and shaitan cannot touch you, you'll be protected. So Prophet ﷺ, he said to Abu Hurairah, صَدَقَكَ وَهُوَ كَذُوب. So he said to him, yes, he has told you the truth. So he accepted the truth even from shaitan. But he is still kadhub, he's a liar. But because Prophet ﷺ, he receives the revelation, he praised what he said and he corrected what he said. So also you can get the knowledge, improve yourself, you work on yourself to get a better understanding, to get the responsibility of the marriage, so that it's going to be removed from being makruh to mustahab to wajib after that. The fourth one is the prohibition, that marriage could be prohibited. A person who's certain, he's assured that he will oppress or she will oppress the spouse. They will oppress one another. They will never achieve justice, such as withholding rights or causing harm physically or financially. I don't have any job. I don't have any work. If I go and marry a sister, she's gonna starve with me. She's gonna be in starvation. She's gonna eat my fingers. So this is oppression. If I marry the sister, I have a kind of sickness or disease. I'm not allowed to have like a relationship or something. Then this is oppression. This is oppression, because the marriage is a relationship, is love, is everything like this. So if I know something like this, by the way, and the person marries a sister, I'm talking straightforwardly, you're not young, and you have to understand this very well. If it happens one day, the family of the sister, they have the right to dissolve the contract of marriage. To dissolve it, even if he doesn't say talaq, you're divorced. They have the right to dissolve it. Because that man has a disease that he cannot have, something like this. So it is not allowed for him to marry. And it's oppression for him if he goes and proposes. He has to get the medicine. And he has to go to a doctor and practice these things. So physically or financially, if you cause any harm to the sisters, That's haram in your right. I know nothing about marriage. I know nothing about how to deal with women and how to live and how to be responsible. You're not allowed to marry unless you learn. And that's the mistake that so many people, they do it. They just love to marry just because of the relationship. That's it. I need the relationship. Wallahi, the relationship is nothing regarding the life of the marriage. And I told you last time about those people who came after 2 weeks of the marriage and they asked for divorce. After 2 weeks, here in the masjid. They got the marriage and then after 2 weeks, they got divorced. Yeah, there is no responsibility. They don't care about this. One of the big hotels in the world, they have big celebrations of marriage. In 6 months, they had over 16 cases of marriage. And every marriage, every night it was like, I can say $1 million or more than this for the celebration, the party. They spend a lot of time, a lot of money for the celebration, for the party and everything. The hotel, they wanted to congratulate the spouse after a while, congratulations, happy marriage and everything. They called the 16 spouses. And they found 13 out of the 16 divorced in 6 months. In 6 months. 13 out of 16 divorced. That tells you the trouble that people have. The misunderstanding that people have. No responsibility. Those people, they're not allowed to marry. If I'm that person, I have to learn to remove the ignorance. I have a lot of time. For myself to do things. So I need to specify a course of marriage, course of responsibilities, to practice that, to go into the real life, have things, to be responsible in a store, to be responsible in an office, voluntary deeds or anything, so that you can learn how to be responsible. The last one is the permissibility. The marriage becomes permissible for some people, and this is the thing which is between all of them, and it is only deemed permissible when both the obstacles are absent and the motives are also absent. No motives, no obstacles. In this case, the man or the sister, they're allowed to marry. It is called for them permissible. If he or she do not marry, it's okay. If they marry, it's something good, inshallah ta'ala. These are the rulings of the marriage. Now, we need to know the motivations of the marriage that answer the questions, why do we marry? That's really important one. And marriage should be based on a valid and sound motives. And this is what is called an-niyyah. When Nabi alayhi salam قال إنما الأعمال بالنيات. Everyone must have niyyah, a motive, in his deed or in her deed. For many reasons. One of the reasons that if you know why you're doing that thing, you will do your best to do it in the best way. And in the other thing, if it's a good intention, if it's in a good motive, you're going to get reward for it. Even if it's marriage, yes. Even if it's a relationship and sleeping, yes. And Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, he told us that when the spouse, they have a relationship and they have intention of that they protect their chastity, the chastity of one another. He said, وَفِي بُضْعِ أَحَدِكُمْ صَدَقَةً. Subhanallah, the time that the spouse they spend together, wallahi sadaqah, it's a charity. As long as they have an intention. They're not doing something just for fun. So these are the motivations that we will talk about, inshallah. So please focus on. The most important motivation, the most important intention that we must have that pushes us to marry is the religious motivation. The religious motivation to fulfill half of your religion. Half of your religion, you're praying, you're paying zakah, mashallah, your income is beautiful, and you're fasting during the month of Ramadan, and you do hajj, you do umrah and everything. This is ibadat. But you're afraid that you commit something haram. You're afraid to steal. You're afraid to look at sisters. You're afraid to watch something that you shouldn't watch. All of these things. So what are you going to do? I want to protect my religion. I want to marry. So that my religion is safe. And I do not give myself or the shaitan any chance to lose myself. So, to fulfill half of one's religion, follow the sunnah, lower the gaze, and maintain chastity. Helps one maintain sincerity in the family life and the worship. This is the marriage in the religion. This is the noblest of all motives that drive a man or a woman to get married based on the verses وَأَنْكِحُوا الْأَيَامَ مِنْكُمْ وَالصَّالِحِينَ مِنْ عِبَادِكُمْ وَإِمَائِكُمْ. The religion is telling you, go ahead, marry. Do not be lazy. Do not depend on haram and have unlawful relationships. You enjoy your time today. You enjoy your life today. You love the fun in the day of judgment. Is not going to be fun. It's not going to be fun there. It's يوم يفر المرء من أخيه وأمه وأبيه وصاحبته وبنيه. They run from one another. They escape there. And everything will be counted. Everything will be counted. Even the animals will, subhanallah, get the retaliation from one another. That the sheep, she hit that sheep, so they get that done in the day of judgment. That retaliation, they will get it in the day of judgment. So I'm not ready to have that hard time in the day of judgment. If one of the spouses lacks this religious perspective, the other should remind him. Yani they married already. But when they started their life, they're not feeling that they're doing it religiously. They're not feeling that the religion have a part of their lives. So he's not praying. He said, I was praying. I'm praying. I'm a good man. I'm reading the Quran. I'm helping in the masjid. But she figured out after the marriage. And by the way, whatever it's said before the marriage, do not believe it until you stay in one house. I don't say, do not trust one another. No, trust one another. But give the probability that this could be correct, this could be wrong. We don't know one another yet. Even if you are engaged for a year or 2 years or 3 years. After being in the house, this is a different world, guys. This is a different life. I'm not trying to freak you out, but I just want you to keep it in mind. To keep it in mind for the brothers and the sisters as well. So they encourage one another to do the religious things. The religion motivation, they can stop them from doing the wrong things. She's screaming when he's screaming. He's fighting, he's hitting, he's breaking everything. Some people, when they lose their temper, they shout. They make a lot of noise. They make a lot of troubles. They beat the others. They call 911. Subhanallah. All of these things. With the religion, it's one word. Ittaqillah. Ittaqillah. Fear Allah. Fear Allah. You're going to step back. You're going to be silent. That's the religion. But I have a big beard. The sister has an niqab, mashallah, a great hijab, praying the 5 times in the masjid, attending the khutbah, attending the lectures. And I say, ittaqillah. And then she says, you think I'm crazy? No, it's not working this way. Where is the religion? The motivation of the religion is one of them. It is the most important thing that we need it. When we are looking for marriage, we need to say just one word. One word, guys. And that word stops us. That is called in Arabic, al-wuqufu inda hududillah. That you respect what comes in the Quran and Sunnah. Because Allah said about taqwa, talked about patience. This religion can make the sister very patient with the bad morals of the husband. One of the sisters, as I said, before, after, I'm not going to say 30 years, 40 years of marriage. She's coming, she's crying and crying and crying and says, I'm done with all of this. And she said, what? After 40 years? You don't have mercy? You didn't see anything good? She says, I'm done with all of this, with his morals, with his behavior, the way he's treating me. He's not doing anything beneficial for me except for criticizing, insulting, and saying the bad words all the time. His kids, they ran away from him. And I'm the only one who's staying with him. And he cannot serve himself. He cannot make anything for himself. And I'm done with all of this, and I'm afraid if I say to him, divorce me, I'm afraid I go to hell. The sister is, mashallah, she's very fearful from Allah Azza wa Jal. She's afraid if she asks for divorce that Allah Azza wa Jal is not pleased with her. And I ask her for patience, 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 patience. What is the thing that can motivate her for patience after 40 years? Only the religion. That I believe when I'm patient with my husband, I have all of the gates of the Jannah open for me. Yalla, get that. Choose any gate. You suffered a lot in life. So that is the religion. What motivates you to be patient. Every person planning to marry should do so. Encourage one another with the religious motivation. The intention of pleasing Allah Azza wa Jal. We marry to get closer to Allah. If we marry and then we become far from the way of Allah, that's not a religious thing. That's a bad sign. I used to marry on time, to pray on time. And the first saf, after marriage, I don't go to the masjid. You have a problem. I used to make qiyam al-layl. I used to visit my family to be grateful to my parents. Now after marriage, I boycott them. I abandon them just because of my husband. And this is another issue. Inshallah, we will discuss. So I have a problem. I need to fix it. One of the motivations of marriage is the social pressures. Social pressures could be something wrong, could be something good. And if the community is asking you, did you marry or not? And are you planning for marriage or not? That's healthy sign. Why? Because the wrong communities, evil communities, they do not support marriage. In a research and a survey done by the Pew Research Center, they say that in 1962, people who wanted to marry in the United States of America, 75 of the community, they want to marry, of the youth. And in 2008, the percentage of people who wanted to marry in the United States, 52%. And I think today is lesser, it's like 30% or something. According to this, they don't want to marry. You know, they become 35, 40, and 45, 50, and I don't want to marry. And they have relationships because there is no dawabit, there is no rules for them. It is life. الحياة الدنيا لعب وله يعبدون الأهواء والشهوات والرغبات. They worship the desires. A desire. Whatever you wish, whatever you want, you just do it in this life. So you choose your Jannah. من كان يريد حرث الآخرة من كان يريد حرث الدنيا نزد له في حرثه ومن كان يريد حرث الآخرة نزد له في حرثه ومن كان يريد حرث الدنيا نؤته منها وما له في الآخرة من نصيب. الحرث اللي هو الزرع, the harvest. You want to get the harvest of the dunya? I give you, get it as you like. طيب, in the hereafter, you get nothing. You find nothing, even if you're a good person. طيب, for the people of hereafter, Allah Azza wa Jal increases for them in their barakah, in the blessings, and He gives them the best in this life. And the best in hereafter, they find the Jannah. And this is the best thing ever. The social pressures, they ask you about the age. They ask you about the status. Are you married or not, single or married, and so on. Do you have offspring or not? This could be a good sign, so people, they push you. So some people, they marry because of the social pressures. That leads us to have a strong relationship with the different people around us, relatives, neighbors, etc., but under the religious laws. The social ties are important to push you to marry, and after marriage, you need to communicate with people, you and your wife and your kids. under the laws of Sharia, the laws of Islam. So if the neighbor is coming to bring you something, so you allow him if you're at the house. You do not allow him to come to your house while you're not there. Even your brother is coming to visit you, he's not allowed to enter your house if you're not there. And he said, where? He's my brother, the brother-in-law. And we know one another very well. And you know, he goes to the marketplace and he buys the goods and the stuff that they need. And then he goes to the house and he puts it in the kitchen. He goes around in the house and nobody, and he stops that. That's really bad. That's really dangerous. Prophet ﷺ, he said, إِيَّاكُمَ الدُّخُولَ عَلَى النِّسَاءِ قَالُوا يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ أَرَأَيْتَ الْحَمُ قَالَ الْحَمُ الْمَوْتِ. Do not enter on women and break their privacy. Do not do that. Even they said, oh messenger, what about the relatives? The relatives of the husband, his cousins and his brothers and so on. He said, this is al-maut. This is death. Why death? Because it destroys the family. It destroys the family, and a lot of stories that people betray one another just because of this. So the social pressures, you have to be aware of this motivation. It presses you and it pushes you to marry, but it has to be done in Sharia as well. The other motivation is the motive of the parenthood. You marry to have kids. Some people, they marry and they plan for not having kids for the next 10 years. Excuse me. Why would you do something like this? Because of my scholarship, because of my studies and so on. Okay, just make it for a shorter time. Do not make it like this. And some other people, they prevent having the kids forever. And by the way, this is haram. This is not allowed. You don't have the right to prevent that. It's not yours. So thinking about kids, sisters, they love the kids, they love the children, they see the kids, they're around, they play in the playground, they love to carry them, to hug them. They love to have a baby in the future. You love to have a person behind you who's supporting you when you get sick, when you get older. So you need to have someone with you. Zakaria alayhi salam, he said, ذكر رحمة ربك عبده زكريا إذ نادى ربه نداء خفيا قال رب إني وهن العظم مني واشتعل الرأس شيبا ولم أكن بدعائك رب شقيا وإني خفت الموالي من ورائي وكانت امرأتي عاقرة قال فهب لي من لدنك وليا يرثني ويرث من آل يعقوب. Oh Allah, give me a guardian, give me someone behind me, so he's going to inherit the prophethood, the wisdom, he's going to inherit this knowledge, this lineage of those good people and the good doers. So thinking about the kids is a very strong motivation that can motivate you when you marry. So this is one of the strongest natural motives in human beings. Delaying childbirth often has a negative impact on marital relationships, and a lot of problems, the spouse, they complain because they delay having the baby. For this reason, Islam prohibits permanent birth control. The permanent birth control is not allowed in Islam, but the temporary one is allowed. Islam permits birth spacing or planning, which means delaying between children for health, social, or practical reasons. It's not allowed to go and make a surgery and remove the uterus of the sister, not to have any babies anymore. This is not allowed unless there is a medical condition that the doctor said she has to make this surgery because of her health condition. One of the motives, the emotional and physical fulfillment. Marriage provides lawful satisfaction of emotional and sexual needs, which is the nature that Allah Azza wa Jal created us. Yes, Thus Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala kept it in our hearts and kept it in our body. Allah created us this way. However, marriage should not be based on sexual motives alone. If you think about this matter alone, thinking about that the marriage is only about the relationship and you don't think about the other sides, you're wrong. You have to consider the other sides. You have to seek the knowledge to be able to be responsible, to support your wife, and she supports you as well. This is the most important thing. If it's based on the relationship only and sleeping together only is not gonna last. Is not gonna last. And that happened a lot, and we have a lot of examples in this regard. And also we have the appreciation and emotional need. We marry to be appreciated. When you go home, you find someone is, welcome back, Habibi. He gives you a hug. Welcome back, honey. You send message. You say someone says to you, Habibi. Nobody in the world said to you, Habibi before. I'm your Habibi, mashallah. You're amazed. This is amazing. Wallahi, this feeling that you have someone telling you, I'm بحبك, I love you, this is the best feeling ever. And it's not aib. It's not aib at all. Prophet ﷺ, he is asked in front of men, all of them are men, who's the most beloved one to you, O Messenger? He says, Aisha. Aisha, my wife, Aisha, she is the most beloved one to me. He says to the whole world, I love Aisha, guys. Nobody can say it today, you know. Even married people, even shuyukh, do not. Even some people, they are embarrassed to mention their wives' names, you know. His wife is called Isra, or is called Asma, or any names. They're embarrassed and they're shy. Do not tell her name. That's not allowed. Who told you this is not allowed? Prophet, he says, Aisha is the most beloved. And he said Khadija. And we know all of the names of the female companions. So the norm of not mentioning the wives' names or the daughters' names, this is not something Islamic at all. And you only call her in front of the whole world, Ahmed, Ibrahim, Abdullah, Khalid. This is the only name that you can call her. It's not aib. Unless you know that some people, they're going to manipulate. This is a different issue. Are going to play with the name or something like this. But it's halal, habibi. It's okay to have the name and to say that I love my wife, and you call her with her name. Nothing wrong with that. We know Fatima, we know Zainab, Ruqayya, Kulthum, Aisha. We have a book is called Hayatul Sahabiyat, the life of the female companions. You'll be amazed when you read about this. Nothing wrong with that. To express your feelings, and you're waiting for the appreciation. Both men and women are in need for love, for respect, to respect one another. You go home, you find the respect. You are in front of people, you visit family, you're in vacation, you find respect. And this is the motivation. This is why you marry. If I marry and then there is no appreciation, there is just, undermining. Whenever she talks, he undermines her. Do not talk while I'm talking. I don't want to hear your voice. I don't want anybody to hear your voice. Never speak to anyone in the world because your sound is awra. You're wrong. You're jahil. Jahil. You're ignorant. His voice is not awra. Who said her voice is awra? If she's playing with her voice. If she's, trying to attract people, this is something else. The attraction and playing, this is the other thing, which is haram. But the voice is not, see, she can express herself. Salama, she used to give her opinion to the Prophet ﷺ. Khadija radiallahu anha, she used to give opinion to the Prophet ﷺ. Aisha radiallahu anha, she used to teach people, men, from min wara'i hijab, behind the screen. And this was there. And their life was beautiful. Today, the sister is not wearing hijab, she's not praying, but you're shy to say her name. Excuse me? What are you talking about? She's not wearing hijab, and you're shy to mention her name? Just talk about hijab. That's fard, habibi. That's fard. That's wajib. She must wear the hijab, or you go to hell. Wallahi, I go to hell? Yeah, because you're responsible for her. But I just took her like this from her father's house. This is another big problem. The first motivation, you did not think about it. And then you blame the family? No, you're going to blame yourself as well. So the love, the respect, the appreciation. She's working hard. This is the real life of marriage. She's working hard to raise the kids, to provide you with all what you need, to serve you, serve your family. And she's respecting your family. The house is clean. She picks the kids up and she drops them off from the schools and from everywhere. She buys the things. She goes to the market, she's shopping, she's doing everything, and you're working, you're eating, you're sleeping. And then you go home. Why is the food is so salty? You don't know how to cook. Wallah, if I have a knife like, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? Just say a good word. ما عاب النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم طعاما قط. Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام, he never criticized food. He never criticized food. كان إذا أحبه اشتهاه أكله وإذا لم يشتهي لم يأكله. If he loves it, if he's okay with it, he eats it. If he is not okay with it, he's not eating it, or he eats few pieces or pieces, small pieces of food, and that's it. الكلمة الطيبة صدقة مع زوجتك أعظم صدقة. So the good word is صدقة. With your wife is the greatest صدقة. Yes. The appreciation. Loneliness. You're alone, you're miskin, habibi, you cook for yourself. You cook for yourself, you live alone, you're late from Salat al-Fajr, you're late in Taraweeh, you're late in your work, you're miskin, you don't have someone to wash things for you, prepare things for you, wait for you. You're miskin, single, and the sister, she's miskina as well. So you come together, this loneliness is removed. You're not miskin anymore. So this is the life. Wallahi guys, life of marriage is the best thing ever. I spent 3 months here, the last year, after working on my papers and working on the papers of my family. That was like a piece of punishment for me. A piece of punishment. I've never suffered in my life like this 3 months that I spent here alone without my wife, without my kid. And I decided after the 3 months, if they do not get the acceptance, I'll leave the United States. I don't care about anything else. I have to go to them. Seeing them, staying with them, listening to their voices, looking at their faces gives you life. Wallahi, gives you life. Sometimes you get motivated when you see your wife is working on something. She's sick, she's pregnant, and she's making you food. What a shame on you. Go do something. She motivates you to work hard. Habibi, stand up, wake up for Salat al-Fajr. Wake up for Salat al-Fajr. You're going to miss Salat al-Fajr. What are you going to say to Allah? Wake up, wake up. That's amazing. My mom, she used not to wake me up for Salat al-Fajr. She feels sorry for me if I wake up early. Mom, please wake me up. She doesn't. Moms are so nice. The wife knows she's tough. Wake up. I pour the water on you. Wake up. You're not going to eat. Wake up. So that's the beauty of having the appreciation, the emotional needs in the marriage. We have personal and selfish motivations that we need to avoid, that we shouldn't think about it. I marry seeking the fame. She's famous. She's rich, she's wealthy, having big property, the family. So I only marry for that reason. So marrying someone to gain social status, recognition, or public images, that's nothing. Never do it. You lose yourself, you lose your karama. For the sisters and the brothers as well. One of the shuyukh, he was telling that a very rich man came to a family and they asked for the hand of the sister. And he's not religious, he's not praying, he's not doing anything, but he's very rich, ya Ayman. And then, after he asked about this, the man went to the sheikh, asked about him. Asked about this case. Give me the advice, please. He said to him, the man is not religious. Do not give your daughter to him. You are sacrificing with your daughter for the sake of money and life and the worldly matters. You're putting her in danger. And he said, okay, Sheikh. Sheikh, after that, he knew that the man conducted the marriage. He did the marriage. Wallahi, 3 weeks, guys. 3 weeks. She traveled with him abroad, and then she was divorced. Another man, he told him, I'm a very rich man. I'm working at a different country and I have a lot of property. They were deceived. he had hotels or something like this. He was serving in the hotels. So she went there, she found that, she was shocked. And then, not only that, he wanted her to do things against her chastity, to trade in her honor. And subhanallah, after a couple of months, they tried their best after struggle and striving, and they divorced her from that man. This is just the dunya. When we think about these worldly matters, we lose everything. Spite toward an ex-spouse, someone who married, he wants to take the revenge from an ex, so he marries another one, or if he is still married with the first one, he marries the second one, and she accepts to be the second wife because because of the status of taking the revenge from the first one. She knows the intention. Polygamy, having the second wife, third wife, fourth wife, all of this is in our religion is permissible. But the one who wants to do something like this, he must be aware of his first wife, the responsibilities, the justice, and everything. It's a great project, a big project. It's not a game. Okay? So if someone is making something like this, is marrying to just take the revenge from the other one, this motivation is completely wrong. Allah will ask him. Allah knows everything. And if a woman is accepting something like this just because of the relationship, just because of the money, she will face the same thing, the same fate with her husband, the same fate that the first wife faced, she will have it as well. Seeking the wealth, we talked about it. The conclusion of this lecture, my dear brothers and sisters, avoid reducing marriage to sexual desire or social pressures. And the true marriage is spiritual, emotional, and moral partnership, not just physical or social contract. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ encouraged choosing spouses based on the religion and character, not merely wealth or beauty. The marriage is a major life decision and must be approached with wisdom, clarity, and a purpose. This is our lecture for today. Jazakumullahu khairan wa barakallahu fikum. Do you have any questions? I will start the questions from the sisters. Do you have any questions? Yes. What if the family are strict regarding the status of the husband, his family? So actually, we should try to fix the problem between the two families, because actually marriage happens, as we said last time, to strengthen the ties of the relatives and the families. If the marriage is a reason to cut the relationship, to cut the ties of the families, so it's not a good thing. But sometimes the family, they have a problem with the other family because of something wrong they do. They deal with riba, for example. They drink alcohol and they say the drinking is okay. One of the sisters, she came here and she was complaining and she cut her relationship between her and the family of her husband because whenever they go to them, they're Muslims and they drink. And her husband, he stopped drinking, but he goes with his family, his father asking him to drink with him. So this is not allowed for her to communicate, to visit, to do anything, because they're doing something haram. And she tried her best to stop them and did not. So we look at the reasons why they do something like this. If it's no reason, just for no reason, so we try to help and to fix that problem, and we have to be patient in this regard. A question from the brothers. MashaAllah, the brothers are peaceful. You do not have a question.
How do you know when you're ready to take on the entire position of a husband and a father?
The brother is asking about the responsibility. How do you know that you can be responsible for a whole house? Actually, you have some trials in your life. You were responsible for a group of students, for example, you teach them Quran. You already teach Quran, mashallah. So you were responsible for, even if one student, you were responsible for him to ask about his homework, to ask about his level, to ask his parents, to follow up, to be creative, to make a project with him, thinking about the subject, the materials, that you prepare things. You used to work and your manager used to give you some tasks. and projects, and he used to deliver these projects on time. So these things are good signs that you can do it. And I consider the one who's lazy in memorizing the Quran, lazy in his salawat, lazy in his work. He goes late. He's absent all the time. He's not good with his parents. He's lazy with his relatives. He never visits them. He never asks about them. This one is not responsible. You're responsible. You have a family occasion. You're responsible. What are you going to do in this? How we prepare it? Did you call this company? Did you prepare that? So you're responsible in the house. There are some signs that you can know that you can get the responsibility. And some signs that you can know that the person is irresponsible in this regard. And I consider people, when they do not come to a marriage lecture or workshop, and they attended the first time, and they were able to attend for the second time, I don't think that those people are responsible to marry. The one who's responsible for marriage is responsible to learn how to get married. And to educate himself regarding the marriage issues. Because he wants to be a successful husband. And the sister, she wants to be a successful wife. That's why she's learning. She's educating herself. This is all responsibility, inshallah. And actually, by the way, at the end of this marriage workshop, I'm taking my notes and feedback on the brothers and the sisters who are responsible. That's why I made attendance. It's not for like fun or something. I'm trying to calculate and measure, because one day, inshallah, I may be one of the reasons the brother marries this sister or the sister marries this brother. When they ask me about the brother, I can say that this brother is responsible or not, throughout the workshops, the volunteering, and so on that we have. Any questions? So the sister is asking about a person who married a second wife, and he didn't want to tell the first one about the second marriage, right? So if the man wants to marry for the second time, third time, fourth time, and I encourage you guys all, mashallah, to have this idea. Okay. So if you have this idea, you have to be courage enough, brave enough to tell the first wife. If you're not brave, you're not courage to say it, to tell the first wife, never make it. Because you're irresponsible. Irresponsible. Okay, yes?
Well, let's say you tell them and then they put marriage in the man.
What do you mean? They put a condition? Yeah, this is a lawful condition. If the sister puts a condition that you're not gonna marry again, this is a lawful condition. She has the right to do so. And you have the right to accept or to refuse. It's not the end of the world, man. I know that you want to marry too. It's okay. This is khat ahmar, Do not come closer. So any questions? جزاكم الله خيرا سبحانك الله وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. I see you inshallah in the next week. This workshop targets all people, married and not married, young and old, but especially it targets you, mainly the youth. جزاكم الله خيرا. بارك الله فيكم.